What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single Monday right here on the show, I, Graham, Jason Matthews, break down all the content I watch on the WWE Network, with the exception of Mondays, where I talk about Total Divas Season 7 as seen on the E! Network every Wednesday night. So today we're talking Season 7, Episode 3, breaking all the rules. Per usual, I'll be breaking it down story by story as opposed to play-by-play, which I've done for past episodes of like Total Bellas and seasons like that and shows like that. So we open the episode with Nia Jax and Maurice. This is completely unrelated to anything, by the way. I just thought I would mention this. But the show does open with Nia Jax and Maurice playing the penis game, which, if you're not familiar with it, essentially is the game of two or more people yelling the word penis out in public, and the person who can yell it the loudest wins. And so Maurice is not familiar with the game. Apparently, they don't have that in France or Canada or wherever the fuck she's from. So that was an interesting way to start the show. One sub-story of this episode of Total Bellas, or rather Total Divas, includes Nikki Bella and Brie. They're going on a road trip. Nikki Bella is super busy these days, but she wants to spend more time with Brie, especially coming off the pregnancy, and she's super stressed and way too busy with Birdie Joe. So Brie wants to go on a trip through Phoenix to San Diego, where I think one of them resides. I think Brie is in Phoenix, and maybe Nikki's in San Diego. I'm not exactly sure. I forget. But Nikki is, initially, she's not really sold on the idea. She's not all that interested in the desert. But Brie is backstage at SmackDown in Phoenix, which is where they take off from to go to San Diego on a road trip with Birdie Joe. Birdie Joe makes the trip as well on her first road trip to San Diego. They begin the trip. Before they even start the trip, Nikki rips her dress. Not too significantly. It's not too noticeable, but she rips it even more when she gets in the car. So the trip is already off to a disastrous start from the get-go. Before they even get to their destination, they want to make several stops. And when I say we, I mean Brie. As in that Nikki doesn't really want to stop. She's much more content just heading on to San Diego, but Brie wants to sightsee, take in the moment, enjoy every last minute of it because, it kind of reminds her of being on the road again, which she hasn't really had a taste of in well over a year since she retired from the ring at WrestleMania 32 rather. En route to San Diego, they have to stop at a truck stop because Brie has to breastfeed Birdie Joe. So they go into a truck stop. They have nowhere to breastfeed the baby. So she literally goes into a shower while, Nikki Bella's on lookout. And she's just disgusted by the whole thing. And they're not really getting along. What else is new? The Bella Twins are getting along on Total Divas, Total Bellas, whatever. What else is new with these guys? Or girls, whatever. So Brie, like I said, wants to make more stops. Nikki doesn't. They ultimately get to their destination. Nikki starts to come around, and she admits that she had fun. Moving on. Next story on the list, Big Cass and Carmella. Finally, we're 3 episodes into the show, and we had yet to really see much of either of these two. We got a brief introduction to Carmella at the beginning of episode 2 last week, but beyond that, we really didn't hear much from her, so I'm glad we got more of an introduction with her and her boyfriend, Big Cass. Carmella wants to move to LA. They currently reside in Florida, as many of the other former NXT talent do, because that's where they're based out of, to kind of, to attend Full Sail University and the NXT tapings there, not the school itself, but, go to the Performance Center and stuff like that. But they're getting fed up with Florida. They want to move to LA, or at least Carmella does. So Maurice, being from LA, invites Carmella over to her house. So while they're Skyping, Carmella believes that Maurice said if she wants to see the house. So she agrees. Maurice thought that Carmella said that she wants to stay at her house. So a bit of miscommunication there. And she wants her to move there with her. Maurice would be super excited. I'm not sure if she has many friends out in the California, LA area. So she would love if Carmella moved on out to LA. So she wants to give her a good time. But she goes all out. In typical Maurice fashion, she goes all out with balloons. And even more so than that, she buys a fucking mattress, a 7-foot-tall mattress, an 18 by 18 mattress, as we're told by the people that are moving the damn thing, for Big Cass. Because like I said, Maurice thinks that Carmella is staying over with Big Cass, so that she buys this ginormous bed where they have nowhere to put it because it doesn't fit in the house. So Maurice obviously didn't think this through, so she literally just puts it outside by the by poolside, which is ridiculous. Obviously, Miz is not happy, but in typical Miz fashion, he goes along with it, just being a pushover. When your wife looks like Maurice, I guess there's not much you can do, but still, the guy's a giant pushover. The big bed is moved to the outside, and then she gets a taco truck as well. I put trunk here in my notes. A taco truck. She puts it outside the house for when Carmella and Big Cass get there. they're completely overwhelmed. She did not know that they would be staying with Maurice, and they don't really, it's not that it's an uncomfortable situation and sleeping on the couch, in the house, or outside on the bed, which it really isn't all that comfortable or nice. I mean, despite the fact that the bed is big enough for Big Cass to sleep on. More so what she takes issue with is the fact that they only get to see each other one day out of the week, and they really don't want to see each other for that one day, spend that one day outside on a giant-ass mattress outside. They would rather spend it in the hotel they booked for themselves out in the LA area. So they're kind of struggling. What do we do? Or at least Carmella is, because she doesn't really want to break Maurice's heart. She respects and appreciates everything that Maurice and Miz have done for them, but they don't really want to spend their one day outside on a bed. So Big Cass ultimately comes out about it. He says, we would much rather stay at our hotel. We already have it booked anyway. We appreciate you guys, what you guys did for us, but we're probably going to go back to our hotel. So Miz and Maurice are fine with it, and that's it. Another story on this episode is with Naomi. She wants her championship as the then SmackDown Women's Champion to light up. She wants to have her belt light up and do something that no other woman has done before. She asks her husband Jimmy Uso about it and whether she should let officials know about it. He says, yes, you should absolutely let officials know, but she's well aware that the process of WWE is long and it's arduous. It might take forever, and by the time she finally gets the championship done and lit up and whatever, she might not even be champion anymore. She knows it's now or never to get this championship deal done. So she can't wait for approval, so instead she just ships it out, and over the course of a couple of days, she gets the belt back in the mail, and it's all lit up, and it was what it was before Natalya won the championship at SummerSlam. So that alone was questionable. But she thinks no one will find out about it until she's at TV. Well, Naomi used the championship at a fucking live event, not thinking anyone would know. That to me was the most mind-boggling part of this episode, between the Lana stuff, which we'll talk about momentarily, the Big Cass and Maurice stuff, and with Nikki Bella and all that other stuff. The most mind-boggling part of this episode, and I know it's reality TV and they script a lot of shit, Naomi didn't think that anyone would know, from the officials, that she had tried this championship experiment out with the lit-up championship belt. She didn't think any of the officials would notice at a fucking live event where there are officials backstage. Granted, Vince McMahon is not attending every live event there is, but God forbid, woman, you got to realize that fans are going to take pictures. She's surprised when a fan took a picture and put it up on Instagram that Naomi had the SmackDown Women's title all lit up and whatever. I remember reading that post. Apparently, according to Naomi, according to the show, officials didn't know about it. Take that for what it's worth. I highly doubt that was the case. Naomi is a very smart woman. She could not have believed that they would not have found out until TV. That no one pays attention to live events, and no one backstage is going to figure out that her championship was lit up. She thought she could just go out to the ring. She could have very easily gone out to the ring with the championship lit up. Yeah, okay, with how overly scripted WWE is nowadays, there is absolutely no way she would have gotten away with that. That is fucking ridiculous. So anyway, while she's out to dinner or lunch or whatever, getting food with Jimmy, she gets a call from someone, one of the producers, she said, that they want to talk to Naomi on Tuesday at TV about the lit-up championship and that we didn't approve it, blah, blah, blah. She gets really nervous. So Mark Carrano, the ever-annoying Mark Carrano, talks to Naomi about the championship, and obviously he says, you should have given me a heads up, because TV doesn't know about this, and no one has any approval of this experiment of yours. And Naomi's thinking that she could drop the championship and just be fired after this. And obviously it's a big no-no to go behind WWE's back and go into business for yourself. So he talks to her about it. He gives her props. He admires her passion. But she needed she needed approval for that championship. Though, as she gets to TV, he goes, around the board and asks everyone that is necessary in getting this approved, and finds out that everyone is on board with this experiment with the lit-up championship and that she can go forward with it. So she uses the championship that night prior to her SmackDown Women's Championship defense against Naomi, against Lana. And she says it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission, and she said the headache was worth it. So obviously, in any other circumstance, she probably would have been suspended or fired, because you can't really do that shit and not expect WWE to get pissed, because they are very, very, very hands-on with everything that goes on. especially when you decorate a sacred championship. Now, granted, the SmackDown Women's title's been around for a fucking year, but you know what I'm saying. That's a piece of the property of the company. That's not yours. Just because you hold the title on TV in a make-believe storyline doesn't mean it's yours forever. So it worked out in this one instance, but it might not be the case in the future, as, you know, he had told Naomi. He says the same thing to Lana. So here's the thing with Lana. Speaking to Naomi, Lana brings up on Twitter that Naomi did not pin both shoulders. So now, if you can recall, we had the Money in the Bank SmackDown Women's title match between Naomi and Lana, which wasn't all that good, which we covered in, I think, episode 1, episode 2 of season 7 of Total Divas a few weeks ago. That match wasn't all that good. The second match, which happened either the subsequent Tuesday or the week after that, went all of like literally 30 seconds. And that was when Lana found out that they would not be going with her push and not be going with her as the next big thing on SmackDown as a wrestler. So after she finds that out, she decides to go into business for herself and bringing up that Naomi didn't pin both shoulders. Someone on Twitter had pointed out that Lana was not pinned. I assume it was a botch. I assume this was true. And this wasn't just done for the show. Because I thought it was very, very odd. They did the 2 matches with Lana and Naomi. And then they did a third match for literally no reason. Because Lana didn't win that third match. And if anything, that match was over even quicker than the second one. So I'm not exactly sure why they did it, other than to write off the storyline that Lana had brought up on Twitter. So she wants to post the picture of her shoulder being up to social media and complain about it. Natalya, being the voice of reason, says that she shouldn't. She does anyway. Mark Carrano meets with Lana about the picture and says, why the fuck did you do that? Maybe not those exact words, but essentially, why the hell did you do that? Do not go into business for yourself, is what he continues to reiterate. But he does give her the good news that creative changed plans, and they're going to give her another match. They didn't originally intend to do so, but they're going to give her another match. Even though, I mean, Lana was super happy about this. Like, oh man, I mean, it worked out in my favor. This is why I got to do everything I can because I really want to wrestle. And she talks to Natalya about it. Natalya gives her shit, as she should have, because Lana should not have done that. And it didn't even really matter. It's not like Lana won the championship. First of all, the match sucked. Second of all, it went all of like 30 seconds. So what did it really mean in the first place? You know, she has not wrestled since. I'm almost positive Lana has been out of the ring for the past 6 months on TV. Ever since that moment for the most part. So did it even really matter? Was it worth the hassle and getting into heat, getting even more heat on yourself in the company? I mean, we had all these rumors, all these reports years ago, but all this heat being on Lana for posting the picture to social media of her and Rusev when on TV. They were rivals. That I can understand. It's fucking reality TV. It's, WWE TV right now it's all real. Like, you're not going to think that people aren't going to notice that kind of thing. That wasn't really Lana's fault. But there apparently have been other reports of massive nuclear heat being on Lana. And for the shit like this, I can understand it. Because that was, who cares? Like, why even bother bringing that up? Because your push was over anyway, sister. You suck. I'm sorry. You're awful. Anyway, that is Season 7, Episode 3, breaking all the rules of Total Divas. We'll be back next Monday with another episode, another review of Total Divas. Check out Episode 4, airing this Wednesday on the E! Network at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. If you haven't already, check out my previous edition of WWE Network and Chill, went up yesterday here on the channel on Sunday, reviewing the awesome WWE 24 special on Goldberg. So if you haven't already, check that out. This Sunday, we'll have another episode of WWE Network and Chill. If something airs after Raw tonight, I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. If there is, I'll talk about it. If there's not, I'll just put up some random video here on the channel for you guys this coming Sunday. At any rate, folks, hope you guys enjoyed Survivor Series weekend. Much more content coming your way this coming week here on the channel. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Have an awesome rest of your week, folks, and I'll catch your ass down the road.